Welcome back, recruits. I'm Chris Nance with the Northern California Ghostbusters, and today we are going to be showing you how to install the Wi-Fi control module for GPStar's electronics kit. Should be real quick and simple and easy, and I've said that before, and it was not. So we'll see. Let's get going. So this is the Wi-Fi control module from the GPStar website. I believe it runs about 20 odd euro. Like 22, something like that.
22 USD, 20, yeah, something like that.
Just a nifty little addition to the GPStar kit, especially if you don't want to have to be constantly reopening and messing with EEPROM settings, and it basically just gives you a handy little control board for all of the GPStar kit's settings from your phone.
Yeah, we're not sure at the time. Chris and I aren't sure how well this will work, so we're going to install it, mess around with it, and then tell you if it is worth the purchase or if it's a pain in the ass. Hopefully, it sounds like to me to be worth the purchase.
So, screw terminals, straightforward. We've shown you these before. We're only going to be using 4 of the screw terminals. One side is going to be our power. So you've got your 5 volt, which is our positive lead, and then your ground, which is going to be your negative lead. Now, on the other side, we want P16 and P17.
Red goes to P17.
Yep. And black goes to P16. At this point, we're securing the board itself. And after a little bit of poking around in here, I think Greg and I have decided that it's easiest to slide it in here and stick it to the top of the battery. If you're using the GPStar kit and using us, not laying things out quite the same way as us, no big deal. You just figure out where it's going to be able to live without getting in the way of any wiring or getting in the way of the motherboard, and is close enough to reach the actual connections on your board. One of these is power and one of these is data. Now, because I was paying attention as I was putting it in, I already know left is power, right is data. The hard connection is going to be the power line, though, because it's got to kind of got to stretch to get there. That's taut. That is going to go to the 5 volt out port on the upper left-hand side of the GPStar mainboard.
Yellow connector for that one, yeah.
And then your data line is going to go down to this little blue 2-pin on the right-hand side, right in the middle of the board. And that is marked RX1 TX1. So we're going to close this up and do some quick testing.
This looks extraordinarily bad.
Oh no. What?
So we blew our first board. Not entirely my fault. When I wired it to the power supply, I wired it red to positive, black to negative, because conventional wisdom tells me that that's how it's wired. However, if you look very, very, very closely, on the board it is marked on positive on our black wire side and negative on our red wire side. That's how we managed that one. From here on out, we're just gonna go ahead and double check our contacts as we go, just to make sure that we're not flipping polarity on accident. On the plus side though, big shout out to Michael from GPStar, because he not only sent out a replacement, he overnighted it to us, which was very unexpected and very, very welcome. So big thank you, Michael. Yes, we're gonna try this again. And there we go. So now we just got to put it back together again.
Hey folks, Greg here. So when you finally get the Wi-Fi ESP32 adapter to recognize a signal on your phone, you're going to want to connect to the Proton Pack and when you connect to that as a Wi-Fi signal, it's going to ask you for a password. You're going to have, this is going to be the default password right here on the screen in front of you. Then once you have access to that, again, you won't have internet access. It'll be connected, but it won't have access to the internet. You're going to want to go to this IP address right here because it's a browser-based interface. From there, you can look around the settings and update the Wi-Fi module. You can make sure all your firmware is up to date, and you can look at the status of your pack and all the different options that you can change on the fly. If you're having any issues with this, like say you can access the browser, but you try to change something on the pack and it doesn't work, it's probably because your firmware is not aligned. So make sure that all your firmware on your main GPStar board for the pack and the wand is up to date, as well as the firmware on the wireless Wi-Fi adapter. You can connect directly to it through your phone as a Wi-Fi signal, even though it's technically not Wi-Fi. You can piggyback off a 2.4 signal, but not a 5 signal. I have yet to test this in public at a crowded space to see if it connects without any issues, but so far in my house and in Chris's house, I've had no issues. Once you're inside too, you're gonna probably want to change your network name and make a custom password as well, so that way it's unique to you, so no other Ghostbusters can access your pack using the default information at a convention. Not like they would anyway. The pack does have to be powered, and it cannot be on. Like, the power has to be on, but the pack has to be off for you to update and change settings in the EEPROM menu. But with it off, you can select the different types of lights. If you have RGB power cells or RGB cyclotron lights, you can control the vibration motor on and off. You can control the mode if you want 1984, 89, Frozen Empire. You can have the wand one mode and the pack another mode. The pack can be 84 and your wand can be Afterlife. Really, really cool stuff. You can play music if you have it installed on your micro SD card. I don't have any music. You can turn your pack on and off. Now, you can't turn the wand on and off. The wand still needs to be, hit manually on the switches, but you can change settings on the wand. Again, remember, the pack has to be off for you to change settings. So supplied with power, but the pack must be turned off. And then you update the settings and then just go crazy. This makes it much more convenient than fumbling around through the complicated EEPROM settings that you have to memorize how to dial on the front, you have to memorize the levels, which toggle switches do what, top, bottom. This is a no-brainer addition to the pack, in my opinion. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. I think I have mine set to Afterlife mode now, but I can go in the flight anytime and change it to any one of the other 4 modes. If you are having issues, make sure the firmware is the same across the board. I'm on 5.41, I believe, and I think the latest is at the time of this video, the latest is 5.4.2. That's a mouthful. So if you're having any problems, if you can access the browser, but it's crashing when you try to change anything on the pack, it's probably because your firmware is not aligned, which you can actually download firmware and update it from the phone and the signal itself. So that's pretty cool too. And a big shout out to Michael from GPStar for overnighting us a new Wi-Fi board that we technically blew, even though technically it wasn't our fault, with the JSTs being reversed, which was very weird. But that was an interesting lesson. But anyway, I highly recommend this product. It's about 20 euro. So I think that's 22, 23 USD about. So great addition to the pack. Lets you change it on the fly. Can't recommend it enough. With that said, let's go back to Chris.
And that's the Wi-Fi module for the GPStar electronics. Pretty simple, straightforward setup, honestly. The only big hurdle, as you guys saw, obviously, was that double check the wire colors on your JST contacts. Not Michael's fault, he gets them in these big lots and he doesn't always necessarily look at every individual wire lead, so I don't really blame him for what happened. But he made it right, which is, very much to his credit. Really easy installation though. It's the big technical part is really just getting it connected to your phone. The kit itself is just like $20 or 20 euro, 22-ish, 25-ish dollars US. And we'll have a link to it in the description below. And if you have any mods that you want to send us, please feel free to reach out to Greg or I. We're pretty much available on all social media, as well as our Discord is linked in the description below as well. And if you have any questions about how to rip apart a Hasbro pack, also feel free to join us there. We're more than happy to help you guys explore the hobby and mod the hell out of things. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button, smash that bell, make sure that you're following us everywhere. It really does help. I'm Chris Nance with the Northern California Ghostbusters, and we'll see you later, recruits.
Okay. All right, important safety tip. Thanks, Egon.